I mean, that can segue into our next topic here, which is that there was actually Nadeshot on Reddit. There's a clip of him where he was discussing, I don't know, I guess he was doing an AMA or something on his stream, and he was discussing why, 100 Thieves don't have a team. And also he was talking a little bit about how the other teams, more credit to them for making the business model work for Counter-Strike because it's so incredibly difficult. And he even went so far as to say, like with the sticker money, that it's a good thing that there's the sticker money because those teams need it. And I think that's definitely a big part of the revenue for these teams now in order to make their Counter-Strike team work is, getting your team into the major one way or another, by hook or by crook. You have to get into the major because then the team at least gets some money back on stickers, because it's still so difficult unless you're going the 1xBet way, or you're getting into crypto. It's very hard to find sponsors that are on board to support CSGO in a big fashion, because again, terrorists, it's not super popular. If you're in Germany, good fucking luck. Nobody wants to touch CS with a 10-foot pole. I still don't know how big work. So I mean, like, you need to have the stickers. You need to make it work. And I actually wanted to get your thoughts on this real quick. Like, as far as Nadeshot is concerned, saying that the 100 Thieves were out. I saw you had a tweet on it. You actually had a couple of thoughts that you'd already put out there. But like, when I heard that, I was just like, man, what could have been if Flashpoint actually was a thing? Could have gone forward and we could have had competition between the leagues instead of everybody just saying like, yes, sign me up for the monopoly. What's your take on that?
It's what's hilarious, Semmler. The whole thing that everyone mocked us for all those years, that all the teams signed the Louvre agreement and went to ESL Pro League instead of Flashpoint. Not technically true, because obviously Cloud9 and like Envy, etc. in theory could have fielded good rosters, and Gen G, like these were still good teams. But true, the majority of the top teams did, and obviously like all the top 10, etc. Right? When people laugh at that, Semmler, they're laughing at themselves and CS Future, you morons. Because think about this. You know how I pointed out that the existence of Flashpoint actually got the Louvre teams a better agreement? I think it was even implied publicly that was the case. Well, it's worse than that. If they'd have actually not all signed the agreement and there had have been a split, Semmler, imagine now when ESL tries to consolidate their project, they'd have to shell out all the millions they got from the Saudis, wouldn't they? This would actually be the time everyone could have gotten paid. This could be when they would be like, right, well, the Louvre Agreement 2.0, we want all the teams in now. So here we go, guys. We're going to bring millions in. We're going to subsidize your teams. Maybe this is exactly when you could have gotten the big pay for. But you don't, because what you'd got instead is you got like 10 cents extra on the dollar 2 years ago. So congrats. You've allowed Nicola Nyholm, the ultimate short-term actor, you fucking imbeciles, to cash out in the short term when all of you could have succeeded in the long run. But now, of course, it's too late. You've handed ESL their monopoly, and already you need to be in blast so that you don't have to go through the showdown. So it's over. You have no leverage anymore. And what's more is, when CSGO 2 comes out via like SourceNet, there'll be no leverage ever again. It's game over. You've actually sold the entire fucking thing up the river, you imbeciles. So yeah, there's that angle. Here's the problem I have with this whole topic, right? It starts with this, which is, homie, you already had a good fucking 100 Thieves CSGO team. You had the Australians. Even if people don't know, they made that like online New York final right when they were getting fucking cut from 100 Thieves. They were even still like a relevant team in the region. And spoiler, that was always a LAN team. That was the guys who lived there for years and years. That was even the team, by the way, of all the NA ones. I would have hung on to those pieces, mate. That was the squad I always thought you actually not only could update using talent from Australia, and they're the players that are going to vet them for you and get them for cheap, but then also like you had pieces like Azza, JKM, and fucking JKS. Like those three pieces are the starters of like a top 10, top 15 team in the world. Like, you want to keep hold of those. Like in the game, you don't let those pieces go, because when you buy them to start another team, you have to pay their buyout. Like once you already have a team, by the way, this is the reason why Nadeshot bringing this up annoys me, because when you already have a team and it is already established, and like I'm saying, you're only ever going to need to change a piece or two. You've already put in a load of costs. You've invested. You maintain that. Instead, what he did is let it completely go. And now, yeah, you know what, Sam? If you want to buy back in and be like a top team and be relevant, it's going to cost you $5 million. Yeah, it's going to cost loads. And that's without all the flights and the salary. Yeah, it's going to be fucking insane. But you did that. You came out the game completely. Then also, not only did you have a team, but famously, Nadeshot never cared about it, never gave it any attention. He didn't even do it as much as like the other big ones do. Like, everyone makes fun of Hastro because he always brags whenever his teams win the championship. At least he's aware they're fucking playing, mate. The joke with Nadeshot is it's almost like if he gets too high one day, he's like, Valorant? What the fuck is Valorant? Oh, shit, yeah. Oh. It's like, do we have a Rocket League? Do we? I think we did. Oh, no, it's FIFA. Sorry. I get confused by all the balls and all the Euros. Like, he's almost on that level. Like, is this guy the fucking owner of the org? So our problem is this. Like, he had a really good team already. Spoiler, this is the one that tilts me the most, Semmler. The guy on his team who was his coach, Kassad, is, in my opinion, one of the number one people you would recruit to be your GM and build you a team from scratch. You idiot. You had him already. You had him already in your org. Why would you let him go? That's the thing people don't get. If you have that guy, you can let the team go. Keep that guy to build your next team, or even build another team in another game. Fucking hell, you're killing me. So you already had Kassad, it would have been banging. And then I'll just throw this in there. If people don't know, 100 Thieves is obviously in the franchise leagues, right? They're in COD, they're in fucking LCS. That means basically he's just bidding for the... He's just betting that in the future someone buys those off him, buys the slot for LCS for 30 million and then buys the COD slot for 50 million one day, and that's his cash out. In that case, what's it got to do with Counter-Strike? Because my problem is this, is this actually a point about Counter-Strike in general? Because if it is Semmler, that's going to piss me off even more. Because I asked most of the owners, are you ready? This is why you'll never get the truth out of esports owners. You have to always rely on people like me. Because I went to loads of the owners, Semmler, who were moving out of CSGO, who were letting their teams go during the online era, and all I said to them was this, I'm sure you guys, because I know from Flashpoint, I'm sure you have very valid reasons that you leave in CSGO and that you have problems with the economy. And I said, here's all I want to do. I want to do one of those esports salon episodes and have 3 or 4 of you, and let's all just get in a group chat and let's have like a convo. Like basically, I'm sure you might have different reasons. Maybe one of you is leaving because it's not a franchise league, one's leaving because the salary's too high. I said, it'll be great. What we'll do essentially is you're not in CSGO anyway, so you won't get in trouble. You'll be able to make your points. It'll sort of put people like ESL and Valve's feet to the fire, and you might even potentially change to a CSGO zone. In a few years, maybe you come back. Every single one of them, to a man, Semmler, told me, oh, I do have a lot of problems with CSGO, but I won't be making any comments publicly. And I was like, why though? And the ones that were my friends basically just told me, like, I don't see any upside to it. Like, if I reveal the stuff, then like the other owners might reveal things about the games I'm in. It's like, it's one of those things. So basically the joke is, the only people, that's why sadly I had to do the episode with people who like the CSGO economy. So I did it with Nazgul from Team Liquid and Carlos Ocelot from G2.
Right. Yeah,
but the problem is, it made it look like it's all roses instead, because they actually like the game and they're sort of like walking the tightrope of spending just enough and getting the success. So the sad thing is, I've never been able to get anyone. If you notice, it doesn't exist. People just, on the one hand, loads of the esports industry is signaling, especially NA, is signaling we don't like the CSGO economy, we don't like this marketplace. But you can't get them to actually just say why. You cannot get any of the reasons why. So that's why, unfortunately, like, I don't think this problem's going to be solved. Like, I think Nadeshot probably has some valid points, but you notice he didn't give any. He just suggests it's too expensive or whatever. Like, what is that, mate? And then also, I'll just say this. Here's why it's whack. Because the problem is, unless the other orgs are lying, Semmler, unless G2 is lying and actually they're just subsidizing it using a different game, or they're gambling on having the best team and making more market in the future, essentially all Nadeshot just did is counter-signal that his org isn't very competent because they're not capable of hiring someone to be a GM to run their CSGO division. That's really weird to me, Semmler, because as I alluded to before, people like Nadeshot, Hastro and Carlos love to get in those dick measuring contests on Twitter and be like, I actually have the best esports org now, you know, when they've won TI or a major or something. Well, when they do that, how are you as Nadeshot going to join that convo? When your whole thing's like, well, how are you doing in CSGO, Nadeshot, one of the major esports games with an incredible tenure? I don't have a team because can't find anyone to hire anyone. It's expensive. Like, you look like a clown, mate. If all the others have top teams and you don't, then they're doing something right, aren't they? So I would also say, I hope some of this, I'm a little bit skeptical it will because of the source. I hope some of it might lead to some self-reflection, is all I would say. Because I actually fuck with Nadeshot, if you don't know, but I just do think he is a little bit of an airhead sometimes.
Well, okay, so the thing is here, actually, now that you mentioned that, what occurs to me here is that, remember how we talked about this? It's a bit of a thread or a bit of a theme in esports, where the idea is that in order to, if you're going to invest in a team, you're either investing so that you win tournaments and you win trophies, and that's how you're going to make your money, a la Astralis down the line, where you build up your hype, you build up your fan base, and you're out there winning trophies, and so you get sponsors. Or you go the content route or the merch route, and you just try and create a vibe, a culture, a content culture around your team. You're not necessarily out there winning, but you've got people who are popular, they're streaming, they're YouTubing, and you're getting your angle that way. To me, when I think about 100 Thieves, I don't think about 100 Thieves as an actual tournament winner. I don't think of, like, what team do they have that's won anything off the top of your head?
They won in LCS, but that's it. As far as I know, that's it.
Okay, so LCS.
They won an LCS split.
All right, fair enough. I don't follow.
I mean, I will say, to put that in context, LCS is the NA region, which of the major regions is like fourth or fifth, exactly. So it's, by the way, that's essentially equivalent to winning like. Let me think what the analogy. Well, bear in mind we have like Koreans and Asia and Chinese are the best in League of Legends. That's equivalent to winning like a DreamHack Open 2 years ago or something like. You're all right, but you're not the fucking best in the world. So yeah, they're not. I don't actually know a game because I don't follow COD. I don't know a game they're at the top in, mate. What are they at the top in? Anything?
Actually, like it's like I literally, it's like if I go to their website, to their front page website, it's all just merch. It's all just clothing. It's like a fashion brand. It's not a. I don't see any, like there's not. You go to other teams and it's like, oh, here are our teams. Here's the sport. Here's the esports that we're involved in, the games that we're involved in. Here's our teams, etc. And with 100 Thieves, I'm just kind of like scrolling through, and it's like it's just a rugby hoodie, rugby shirt. And just a bunch of t-shirts and hoodies and hats and shorts and pants, and I'm scrolling, and then at the very bottom it's like teams. Okay, hold on, let's click on teams. So then they have League of Legends. What else? Fortnite, Call of Duty, Valorant.
It's the one where they got Sean Gaz and DDK, and
then it's just creators. Yeah, I mean it's like Valorant is in there.
It's more of a streamer org and influencer org.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like maybe that's the angle, the reason why. If I'm trying to if I'm trying to actually try and look at it from Nadeshot's perspective, I guess he's not in that sort of thing where he actually is trying to build a team that's going to win anything. If his angle with his org is to get creators, create content, create a demand for the merch and demand for that. Because I mean, merch.
The joke is logically,
merch is a pretty big chunk of money right there.
It is for his company. For those, it's worth fuck all. The joke is he should have been the one signing Stewie then. At least you could market like the Smoke Criminal merch. You could all that. I mean, he has his own brand for that, to be fair. But you could do like a collab or whatever, can't you?
You could have done something along those lines. Instead, that's not the angle that I see here with 100 Thieves. But like I guess what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to like walk it back a little bit from Nadeshot's perspective, because I'm guessing if you're going at it from a content side of things, then you don't have that outlay to say, okay, we're going to build this tournament winning, like we're going to invest $5 million in this tournament winning team and go that route where there's no stream or there's no YouTube, there's no nothing behind it backing it. If your whole business model is going around merch and
here's what's wild though, Semmler. I'll give you the info you just made me think of though that actually destroys his whole argument. It has to, unless he gives a special reason that, like, essentially, because when he says it's too expensive, I think what he means is because we're incompetent, it would be too expensive for us. Yeah, if you're doing what you're doing, you have no contacts, you're going to pay top dollar. Obviously, the first thing you do is hire the GM, right? Well, that's actually the joke, Semmler, is the two games I'm aware of them having any success in, which is like they're all right in Valorant. That's because they hired DDK and Sean Gaz, so super knowledgeable people to run the team. And in League of Legends, people won't know this, but it's because they hired a really famous commentator called Papa Smithy, who actually was, again, a really knowledgeable analyst. So, like, again, the joke is you did it in the other games. Now go and hire a Kassad, a Zeus, these sorts of people in CSGO, and they will build you a team. Just like that. What's weird about that angle there, dude, is he's missed the meta of all the other teams. Think about how Na'Vi became #1, thanks to Blade. Think about how did Vitality become this interesting international team? Thanks to Xtaz bringing in the other players. So, mate, like, it goes down the line. Like, you've never empowered someone like that. You've never had someone like that, unfortunately. That's the modern meta.
Question is whether or not he walks that back. I mean, I'm sure he's still got Kassad's phone number. It's not like he could just call him up and be like, hey, let's make this happen. That would be interesting, considering like Kassad is still, like, right now he's doing analysis for Pro League, so he's going to be over in Katowice for 6 weeks or something like that. But I mean, like, what's stopping Kassad from joining a team right now? It seems really weird to still have him hanging out, flapping out in the wind.
See, my joke would be that this next 6 weeks then would be the perfect time to capture him. Have him thinking about it. Every day he looks out the window, sees grey Katowice, thinks, right, which do I have today? The shitty pizza or the shitty KFC? As he's thinking that, the call comes in on the line. Hello? Hey, bro, whatever, homie. So whatever, you get the joke anyway, right? Obviously, it's Nadeshot.
What's up, man? How's it going?
And also, I'll just say this, if you are actually Nadeshot, like, you live in LA, mate. Like, this guy, you don't need to pay him the same salary that you pay people in LA. He comes from Serbia, motherfucker, and he isn't in a team right now. Like, you can even get him, like, probably for a good deal. Like, maybe 10K, 15K to him's worth it, mate. To you, that's nothing, because obviously that wouldn't even cover, like, fucking insurance in America as a contractor. But the joke is, to someone like that, that'd probably, like, a full-time job. You'd go ham at that.
Yeah. I mean,
I will say one thing I do appreciate about Nadeshot is this, though. Even though he does remind me a little bit of Doublelift from League of Legends, where he clearly just, like, says things without quite, like, thinking it through. In some ways, that's also a strength, I actually think. Like, here's the thing I'll give him credit for. Just by doing these stream things, he actually has provoked a lot of conversation over the years on different topics like this. He did a similar thing last year where he said a comment like that it's really hard to, like, build a winning League of Legends team, for example, and that it'd been tough for him, and, like, people don't realise that, I think because basically in the first split he had a team, they actually did make it to the finals of LCS. So he was like, people don't, like, give us credit for what we did. It was such a short ramp up time. So he's actually made some very valid points. He can be quite lucid, actually, as much as he can be a bit of a meme otherwise,
I don't think you make it as deep as he has without having some kind of vision, without having some kind of idea, and knowing how to get knowing how to communicate, especially with your fan base and with the internet, right?
So that's why it's so weird, as you say, that like it's only success that he seems to view, because surely his whole career success ultimately isn't just how good he was at COD; it's how he's marketed his personality and his brand.
Without a doubt, hugely successful on that front. I mean, good for him. I mean, it's just interesting to bring up this topic again and to see if they're going to try and make any kind of play to get into the scene. Clearly, there's ideas here, and maybe this is going to be what shakes it up a little bit here going forward. I mean, although I feel like you highlighted at the beginning, it does feel like we're kind of narrowing down now, and we're going to go through this period where there really is just going to be ESL and Blast. And so if you're not sitting at the table, if you didn't get the invite to the party, you're going to be outside in the cold knocking on the door, and nobody's going to hear you because the music's too loud inside, right? Like, it's going to be a really rough time, I think, for not only teams to get involved, because if you're not in the Louvre agreement, then you're in qualifier hell, and we've seen just how fucking cutthroat that is, how difficult it is to qualify online. Astralis just barely made it. We're going to talk about it, but Astralis just barely made it through these online qualifiers to get into the RMRs, and that's a top team that's actually competing on LAN with some of the best, and they could barely cut it. So I mean, are you going to go ahead and throw yourself in there if you don't have a seat at the Louvre table or a guaranteed spot at Blast? I could understand why there may be some hesitation still on the side of Nadeshot to get in. So let's go ahead and oh man, we've got a couple of things that we could touch on right off the bat right there, but I think let's go ahead and actually review real quick this online format, because to highlight, so we're going to wrap it together.
One thing I'll never understand, because I used to actually get, people will think this is weird, but I used to get almost mildly annoyed that Richard always used to read the Twitch chat, and then sometimes he would just go in on people, and I'd be like, what the fuck, we were having a convo, why are you talking about him? But I will say, because I've just been checking that the streams up every now and then, since we haven't done this for a while, obviously Richard isn't here anymore, right? And mate, I can't even believe that this is how you have to understand, the Twitch chat that we have for this show is what me and Richard in theory built up over 7-8 years or something, with all the most legit story. And dude, even our Twitch chat, even the ones who sob, it's just every single statement is just right, whatever they just said is wrong. Here's why what they just said is wrong. That's all every reply is, even from the fucking subs. Even when I say a fact, I've even said facts on past episodes, by the way, Semmler, that I knew, my personal friend in the industry told me that directly, and seeing people in the chat actually, I think that's incorrect, and actually maybe he left the org a year ago. What is the point of this show then? Do you just want to do the show? This is so fucking stupid. Why are you here? You're just here to go, that's not true. Actually, I don't think you did do that. Shut the fuck up and learn, you dumb fuck. No wonder you're just shelling out money on fucking Twitch Turbo or whatever, you moron. What even is that? I don't even know what that shit is. Whatever, Prime, whatever. I don't even know the terms. Whatever. Back into the show. What were you talking about, Sam?
Back into the show.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.